And back now with us, the Democratic nominee for New York's 10th congressional district, Brad Lander. So I want to step into a sort of broader conversation about the race here, because while it may be over, this primary, many of the debates and emotions that it elicited, they're very much still here in the city, and I think they're going to be with us for a while. And I want to ask you about something that happened to your opponent, Congressman Dan Goldman, just a few days ago. This coffee shop, Poetica, posted an image of him publicly and said that he is not welcome at their establishment because of his pro-Israel views. I want you to describe for me the impact that incident and this whole conversation is having on the Jewish communities here of New York.
Yeah. Look, I thought that was really uncalled for and unfortunate. His daughter needed to use the bathroom, and so they went into a coffee shop, and a barista let her use the bathroom, and then he said, "Oh, of course, I'll buy her a coffee, and thanks," and tipped her. And there are lots of ways to tell your representatives if you're frustrated with their votes, and many voters in this district are, but we don't need to make our coffee shops places where people don't feel welcome. And yeah, I'm a proud Jewish New Yorker. I feel the anxieties that people are feeling right now. It's an anxious time, and we have to balance just two things. Like, Democratic voters are saying we don't want to keep paying for Netanyahu's wars. We need a politics that sees Palestinian kids in Gaza as created in God's image just as much as our kids. And Joe Biden's strategy of hugging Bibi was a catastrophic failure. It's our money that paid for those bombs that displaced 1 million people, that killed 70,000 Palestinians. So all of that is true. And so I'm going to be one of the Jewish Democrats in Congress who fights the hardest for Palestinian human rights and freedom. And at the same time, I'm going to fight fiercely to make sure that Jews are welcome and also feel safe and respected and protected here in New York City and around the country. And in Israel and Palestine as well. That's not two separate jobs. That's one job. Shared dignity, shared safety. That should be Democratic Party politics. It's been broken apart since October 7th. We need a more honest conversation for it. We need accountability for complicity in genocide. But progressives also have to be on the front lines of the fight against anti-Semitism. And I promise I'll work hard to do both. Our party needs to do both.
Can I ask you, on a personal level, did you have a chance to call Congressman Goldman? Did you talk to him about it?
I did. I both said in my speech last night publicly and to him privately that I thought his graciousness, what he did after Poetica posted that post, was respond by saying thank you to the barista who let my daughter use the bathroom. I do what they had refunded him the money in that mean gesture. And he said, I want to make sure she at least gets the tip. And that's a kind of gratitude and graciousness that we don't see enough of in our politics. I praised him for it privately and publicly. We need a politics that does that for everyone, that acts like everybody's lives, everybody's humanity is something we won't compromise on.
Can you walk me through what that very difficult work may actually require of you and what it could look like in the coming months and years? Because it is very real. I don't think it's exclusive to New York City, but anyone who has spent time in New York City in recent months knows that Jewish Americans living in this city, they have a fear and they're rightfully alarmed by rising anti-Semitism around the world. I have many Muslim friends in this city who have family members that have been lost or displaced in Lebanon and are outraged by the human rights violations that they've experienced. And it's heartbreaking to see just the level of dehumanization that people so consistently feel. And it is a major challenge. It's very difficult to get people who feel dehumanized to talk to each other at times. And if you're a bridge, what does it mean to be a bridge?
Yeah, it really is. We did actually a canvas, a solidarity canvas of Muslims and Jews on the last Sunday before the election, working to get out the vote. And we had a couple of hundred people out, Jewish New Yorkers and Muslim New Yorkers, who don't agree on everything about Israel and Palestine, but who know we can't compromise on everyone's humanity. And it was really a beautiful event. So, look, I struggled. It took me a little while to say I recognize Israel's destruction of Gaza as a genocide. I got there because my Jewish New Yorker daughter brought me the work of Raphael Lemkin, the Polish Jew and Holocaust survivor, who coined the term and who knew that when we say never again, we got to mean it for everyone. And like I was able to hear it through her and through him. And I'm going to be somebody who could go into the Jewish Community Center and say, I understand this fear, but we also have to reckon with complicity in genocide. That's Jewish to do. And we can confront our fears and demand respect and dignity and shared safety, but we have to show it as well. I spoke in my remarks last night about 3 Israelis who I met a couple of weeks ago at a synagogue in Brooklyn who do what's called protective presence in the West Bank. They put their bodies on the line to protect their Palestinian neighbors from settler terrorism. And they couldn't bring their Palestinian partners because they couldn't get visas here. But they do that work together because they know we've got shared fates. And I just hope to bring a fraction of that courage into Congress and to ask all voters, Jewish and Muslim, Israelis and Palestinians, to try to see each other as human and think about what it would mean to put your bodies on the line to stand up for other people's lives.
Brad Lander, always good to see you. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and congratulations on your win again.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you.